Hello and welcome to the GitGud podcast, episode 1. That is very much a name in progress. I will probably change it in future if Magnus allows me. My name is Bruce. I'm joined as always with Magnus. Say hello, Magnus.
Hello. And my name is actually not Magnus, but it is Magnus.
Magnus?
Yep. Yeah, it is a kind of weird one because it's Danish, so I'll run with Magnus.
Good Lord. We're deep into this and you're blowing my mind. This is
But my actual name is Magnus.
Magnus. Okay. Would you prefer I say Magnus?
No, it doesn't matter to me at all.
Wow. Now I'm completely off kilter for the rest of the podcast. That's fine.
Yeah, sorry.
So the GitGud podcast is affiliated with the GitGud Painting Patreon and YouTube. If you want to follow us and find us, we are GitGud Painting on YouTube and GG Painting on Patreon. You can find a whole host of exclusive content and the ability to have lots of feedback sessions with Magnus or Magnus, depending on your preference. I'm sure he won't hold you to it. This is ultimately a little bit of an outlet for us. We've done a lot of content both in the Patreon and on the YouTube, a lot focused on painting and talking about topics around painting. This is a little bit more fun because it's just talking about the hobby. It's going to be the two of us. There may be swearing, and if there is, I'm very sorry. So do not listen to this around small children or people where you're old folks. I mean, if you are listening to a miniature painting podcast near old folks, that's a different question. We have a number of topics, but I think before we dive into that, Magnus. Oh no, this is going to be the whole podcast.
No, do Magnus. It's
Magnus. Okay, how are you doing? It's been a week.
Yeah, I'm doing great. This has been a week. No doubt about it. We decided to launch not too long ago, and I mean, we knew it was gonna be a hard
ambitious.
Start, but
ambitious is the term, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't think at least I didn't fully probably understand the scope of it. It's so also because we kind of I guess we had the idea that it would be kind of a slow start and getting wheels running and trying to see what kind of content and easing into it a bit. At least I thought that. And then production happened and whew,
then you were locked in a basement and told to paint constantly so that we could produce the tutorials that we needed.
Not even joking.
Whilst obviously still being a dad, still being a husband, still having to manage all the interpersonal dynamics that are required.
Oh, dude, you don't even know the half of it. My wife has been an angel. She's even for people not knowing, we have an almost newborn daughter. She is this week 3 months old on Sunday, so she's small. And she's doing baby things as babies do. And
they will do those, yeah.
Yeah, they will, and you can't stop it. And so it has been late night recording of voice because everybody else is asleep then. And which is fine. And we know it's part of the deal. But a day like today where we're so close to launch, right? And we know we have the last couple of things to do. And baby, of course, do not want to sleep those days. Not at all.
Absolutely not.
So actually just 20 minutes ago, my wife was like, yeah, I'm packing the baby. We are going for a shopping run because we can't have this screaming in the background. So yeah, she's been an angel with it. And of course it is rough for her too. But we'll manage. It's not like the end of it's not a pity party. I'm just saying, there goes a lot of work into this, and I mean, you even see more of the work than I do because all the techie stuff and all the cutting and doing, I'm actually leaving to you. So I'm surprised. Yeah, how do you feel about it, dude? Because you've had a week too.
So I guess number one is your wife is officially, as we've declared, the MVP of GitGud Painting. That I think cannot be said. I remember when, because my daughter is now 7 years old, very different from 3 months. Those early baby phases, and like, I think back to it now and I'm like, I'm not sure how I was able to function. So the fact that you're doing all this is still quite mind blowing. But then having a partner who can take the load off when you're feeling it is, yeah. So shouts out to Magnus's wife, MVP of GitGud. In terms of the techie side, it's been really interesting for me because, you know, my painting journey when it started last year was, you know, it was rooted in YouTube. It was rooted in watching content and really enjoying it and digesting it and thinking, oh, you know, if I was doing this, I'd maybe do it differently, but never thought I'd be in a situation where, like, you know, less than a year later, it's like, oh, you'll be cutting some of this and thinking about these questions. And so I'm one of those people that gets excited by just doing things. And so it didn't feel tough. It's why, like, the late night editing sessions have been fun. The thing I didn't anticipate is when I recorded that camouflage tutorial for the Patreon. That was my first time painting and recording. Oh boy, that's tough. That's so tough.
Not as easy as it looks, huh?
Oh, I mean, it didn't look easy. That's problem number one. But I mean, I know I'd message you saying, like, I'm just so impressed by you being able to do it, and I'd messaged that before I'd tried it myself.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely not. It's hell. It's hell on earth because I didn't know how much I want to bring stuff to my body to keep me stable, but you have to leave it out in the recording space. It was a nightmare. So that's tough. The rest of it's been great. Can't complain.
Okay, good to hear. Well, because you're balancing like real job and family and hobby job, I guess. So for you, it is even an added layer. I spend all my time on this now, seeing how it can fly, and so I have time when other people would be at work. I mean, I'm cutting it up because of, well, baby stuff, but I have more available hours than you normally would have, right? So that's what is amazing to me, is fitting everything, like all of that, into an already busy schedule, right? Because
you just make time. It's fine. It's going to the gym that suffers. That's the brutal one. It's getting in and getting a workout in the morning. That's right, really. Because
yeah, which is actually, it's funny that you mention it, because I recently went back.
You're back in it. You've had a
yes,
big,
I'm back
was
into
it a big
the,
break?
Yes.
Because you said you used to be into bodybuilding and stuff like that.
Yeah. I did 10 or 12 years of bodybuilding during my 20s. And then before COVID got out, I kind of lost interest and just went maybe a day or two a week. And then all of COVID happened, and I met my now wife and kids and all of those things. So I just didn't go back. And I wasn't even really missing it, because I had all kinds of other stuff going on. And I was so like, I guess, filled up in having 10 years in the gym. Yes. So I wasn't really, and I did heavy lifting and hours and hours of training and all of these things. So it's not even like I wish I could just sneak in a gym session. I actually never thought about it. Because I got other things to obsess over, I guess.
You had your fill. You had a Dante to paint. It happened.
Exactly. But I want to say, for me, especially after having the baby, because of having so many, like, you can't sit down and just paint for 5-6 hours, because every session will be broken up. Like, then you have to feed, or someone is needing a change, or whatever it is. So every session will be kind of broken into smaller sessions. And even if it's only 10-minute or 30-minute break, it still kind of gets you out of the groove. And it had me actually kind of annoyed. So, because I was used to something else, right?
So before this, like, that was you did like 6-hour painting sessions.
Yes, maybe not 6 every time, but I did.
I'd like say marathons, basically.
I'd say the shortest ones probably 3 or 4 hours.
Jeez, wow.
It was perfect for an episode of Critical Role or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was, and sometimes I just began the next one if I was really into it. Um, and mm, my wife and I have this, like, the agreement between us is the other person should have his or her personal time as much and as often as possible. So we are really communicating. Today I need together time, family time, whatever. Or you know what? Today I think you should go see your aunt, and I'll take the kids, and we'll do like kind of our separate thing, right?
Yeah, go be
Because
human for a little bit.
yeah, and I mean, I know that it's not every dynamic can be that way, but it's something important to us, and we really like it. It's something. It keeps us the people we are, I guess. So we are our own people while still managing all the other things, and it's fair enough. If you say this is a day where I need you to be
This is a
on,
day. There's just there. This is a day.
yeah, and that is it. And then of course you are, but I have regularly, and now it's probably every other Friday or maybe third Friday, off for card games, and I'd have either like Saturday or Sunday for not full pending days, but almost full pending days. Maybe it was like 3 hours and then broken up, and then it could be 4 or 6 hours even in the afternoon, evening. So yeah, and before I met my wife, I painted so much, dude. It it was so much. So
You never
all
knew
of
how
that
good
was
you had it until you lost it all.
well, my back. But yeah, so that meant uh, it is a definite change because um, now you have something to be like. You have to interact regularly, and you can't just like, yeah, I just need half an hour. Nope. When it's time, it's time. So
Yeah.
you put everything down. And as I said, that kind of it is a bit frustrating. So kind of my way to, because you can sneak in a gym session much easier. You can go and say, okay, for the next hour and 15 minutes or whatever, I'm gone I have a gym like 300 meters away. So
I mean, that helps if it's literally around the corner.
it is literally, yeah, around the corner. So I'll sneak in one, and I have really enjoyed it, getting back into everything. I know it's of course not the same as it was, but just getting away, no noise, no nothing. And I said to you, I think one of the evenings, that it's actually my kind of catching up on socials time, because I can just go to the gym, concentrate on doing that. My rest period in between, I just browse Instagram and whatever, and because I don't listen to music. So yeah, it's just like a kind of a space for me to let out some frustration and sweat a bit and feel good about yourself.
Everyone has their vices. I can think of worse vices than going to the gym. I'm still struggling through that a little bit because, this is how we've actually completely shanghaied this. When it was meant to be a miniature painting podcast, but actually it's about fitness. This is the secret truth of it all. Because you're back at the gym, and then like it was recently, what was it? 2 months ago now, I think that it's like that's when I like hit the benchmark of like having lost 100 pounds in weight. And
yeah, it's nuts, dude.
you go back to the gym then, and it's like almost transcarna, starting up again, but you're starting off from a base of not being overweight, so that is kind of a different feeling. But I'll never not love, and this is probably where it does like tie into miniature painting, certainly for me, is the benefit of going to the gym is week after week you lift a bit more weight. If you're doing everything right week after week, there's a little bit more, and I do feel with every painting session, you feel a bit of improvement. Like certainly when you're
Yeah.
starting out, and it's oh, actually here I just base coated a bit better, or I really this bit used to really frustrate me, and when I had to paint like this nook and cranny, and now I have a way that really works because I've learned from it. And so that idea of self improvement and bettering yourself, I think, is kind of intrinsically tied to the hobby. With the flip side of sometimes the negative feelings where it's like, oh, I didn't get this paint job right, or damn, I injured myself again, and things like that. So they're really intertwined, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's it's actually a good point, because I didn't paint until 2008, May 2018. Didn't paint before. I mean, I had friends back in school who had a big brother painting or whatever. So it's not like I've never touched a brush, but I never owned any like models myself or anything. And I have some friends now who are wargamers.
Hmm.
So I kind of knew about models and hobby and all of those things, but they're not into. I mean, you can be a wargamer and a painter. I'm not saying one or the other. I'm just saying they are definitely into the hobby for the wargaming part.
Yeah.
Which means they don't. I mean, they want something to look good, but they want it to be fieldable. Is the main goal. Yeah. So I kind of knew about it, and I in the beginning I asked them what do I get and how do I get started and set up and all of those things. But I think coming from something that takes quite a lot of discipline, because as you said, that like the incremental gains are definitely what gets you there in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, because nothing is coming quickly. Nothing will. So you will have to put in work, and kind of like going to the gym. You can be staring in the mirror every day and not see any change. But if you took a snapshot from the day you started and then a year in, it's not the same at all.
Yeah.
You look so different. And it's kind of the same with the models. If you paint something and you then like fast forward 1 year, it's not the same at all. Even though you didn't really notice the big changes, because they were just compiling small changes, really.
Yeah.
So I think
sorry,
that mindset has helped me. Yeah, go on.
So, and this is why. It is maybe last week I did that video on YouTube, like finding joy in the hobby, and I debated. Originally, it was 4 points, and then I added the fourth, which was find your community, and that I think can't be understated in this hobby. Is if you're going to paint every day, as most people do. I mean, and that's not to say that you can paint every weekend and still be fine. Don't chill out about it. Like as long as you're painting, you're in the hobby. But if you're painting regularly and you're only seeing your own work, you need more pair of eyes to both look at your work and say, hey, you're doing better, you're really improving here, like good job. But also just to expose you to new thinking and like new ideas. With so many of my things that I've like learned in life, I've been quite an insular learner. And because it's just my preference, like I am probably more of an introvert despite liking talking and things like that. But like in terms of how I process and think, it's all in here. For audio listeners, I just pointed to my head. But like great examples, you were saying about wargaming and things like that. And I would have thought, well, people that are just painting, armies and kill teams, that they're just going to be getting through it quick as possible. But thanks to the community, I have someone like Scott Frazier, who like search him on Instagram and check him out, who does beautiful units, and it's like, oh right, no, you can take this to such a discipline, and it's its own thing, and there are lessons you can learn from that in terms of how to paint very economically and beautifully and cleanly that I wouldn't have been exposed to unless I was part of a community. And so that's why it's there. You need people with you to help you along the journey, I think.
Yeah, and I think also it's kind of like all of this is like a brick in the road. So maybe maybe it's not exactly that one brick you're going to step on to get ahead, but even knowing that there is a path, even knowing that like I can use some of these things. I mean, it's not like I'm not using too much of what I got from wargaming friends in the beginning, but they did help me start, and I really appreciate like the feedback and no, you should probably try this, and yeah, it will go kind of chalky if you don't do that. And I mean, even though that's not display painting at all, far, far from it. They had experiences too. And I found pretty quickly that people are quite eager to share their experiences in the community. And I mean, that was not exactly what I found from the bodybuilding, like, or training or whatever. There were some people who were good at sharing, but a lot was actually like they would rather share, like their snapshot, I guess, than they would share the road to it.
That's really interesting. That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
because I don't want to say gatekeeping, but some people were, of course, because they were selling programs and whatever. But it was much more about, look, I'm here, than look, this was the process I had to get here. And that's the key difference for me, at least. I mean, it may have been the time or the community or whatever, but that was very different for me, where it kind of in this hobby, I think people are pretty open-minded and want to share uh, how they got to, and how you can apply some things, and want to help you actually move.
Yeah, and I think
Because it's
that speaks to
yeah,
the name, Get Good. Like this is like way into the weeds, and but I think it's worth saying because when we were first talking about this ages and ages ago, first kicking around the names, Get Good, that was you, wasn't it? You said Get Good. I was like, and at first, I think I had the reaction that a lot of people had initially, which is like, oh, Get Good can feel sometimes like a dismissal, like, oh, I'm having troubles with this,
that
Get
was
Good. And it was a worry. It was a worry for both of us.
yeah,
And then, like, I did think about, okay, well, when I've encountered that phrase historically, it's been like as part of like the Dark Souls community, or like. So I mean, definitely, I want to say video games, but literally like Dark Souls community and
yeah,
Elden Ring and stuff like that. But those are communities that, by and large, help people. Like they have giant wikis that are filled in because, or like
yeah,
people helping decipher lore and things like that. And that to me made it work. Like, yeah, you can say Get Good as long as the follow up is and here's how. That's all that matters. And I think the miniature painting community is so good for that. And it's the one thing I'd
yeah.
probably say to anyone coming into the hobby is you just be open to the thoughts and ideas. Like you don't have to take them all on, but
No, no, no.
if you at least listen to them and not dismiss anyone out of hand, like there are people like I'm pretty new to this hobby. There are people new to the hobby that have taught me so many important things that
Yeah,
I've then taken forward to strengthen myself. And I'm sure you can
yeah.
be an ancient Vince Venturella in the hobby. I don't mean to call you ancient Vince. I'm very sorry. Who then is learning all the time from newbies and people coming in, because I just think that's the joy of this place, is just learning stuff.
That's one thing. And another thing that is important to remember is that art is very subjective, right?
Mm.
So everybody with a set of eyes can have an opinion of how your stuff looks. And sometimes that opinion does not really fall into like what you're trying to convey, or the level you're at, or whatever it is.
Mm.
But it the opinion is still there, and while some of them may be more like helpful or useful than others, it is still worth hearing some, because the classic example is, does this look metallic to you? Yeah, but dude, I'm not even joking, because
Oh, those words bring me pain, Magnus.
it's mostly when the other person says, no, that's just white.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
But
But I think you only know you only ask that question if you know the answer to it, which is no.
that's the thing, because oftentimes when you're asking, you already know the question. And that's what I'm saying. It's kind of the classical example of maybe it's okay to listen and don't. I mean, you can be satisfied with your work, but asking for an opinion or like putting stuff out there is setting yourself up to like you can get a response that you didn't really want,
Oh
or
yeah, you're
maybe
gonna
hope
get
for.
hit. Like
Sometimes you are, and it was. I mean, I used to post more on Facebook than I do now. Of course, it's also easier for me as my work gets better, right? So, but I used to paint and post more on Facebook. But so there are aspects where you will always get like hit with something. Someone saying that shouldn't look like that, or that ourselves too bright, and whatever it is. So you can run into it. What I'm saying is just remember that you're putting your stuff out there is kind of asking the question.
yeah.
So I mean, take what you can from it and be open to all the answers, I guess, and then sort it.
Yeah, and like this isn't I guess this isn't like a how to take feedback, because if I could tell someone how to do that, that'd be great. Like I've had my work torn apart for years and years in the creative field. Like, you know, if you
Yeah,
don't
you
like
must.
the GitGud like logo, come talk to me. That's fine. I can have criticism on my design work and my video work because I'm really used to it.
Yeah,
And I thought, idiot that I am, when I bring my paintings to the people,
yeah,
they
yeah,
will give me feedback and I will take it within good grace. But what actually happened is I got the first few bits of feedback and it felt like I'd been punched in the face repeatedly. And I was like, oh, this isn't a good feeling. And I don't know why I'm getting so emotional about it, but maybe it is different from like the work I do professionally. And maybe I do have to think about it in a different way. Feedback is always going to be tough, I think.
yeah. And I think it's mainly actually because it is an extension of yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're putting work and you're putting like thought and creativity and heart into something. So it is kind of an like you can distance yourself from a logo, right? Because it's for a customer or whatever you're doing in a creative field. You
It's for
have a
Magnus, my worst customer, and his constant demands.
well, but others. Yeah, but I mean, because you're presenting something that is close to you, and as I said, a kind of an extension of you, the feedback can and sometimes will hurt.
It's
But
art, like you say. It's art. It's not
it
design. It's so intrinsically tied to you. Like I'm not a
yes,
spiritualist. I'm not like here. I believe in the soul, but this is as close as I can get. I think is touching
yeah,
upon like you putting a little bit of yourself into a model.
yes. And I want to say the some of the best and most impressive people out there, they take feedback incredibly well. I have no problem shouting out Onion Knight here because
Oh, he's a legend.
yeah, he is a legend and he just won Golden Demon, and I have probably never met someone taking feedback as well.
Hmm.
And he's not hung up on yeah, but you have to be better than me, or yeah, but if you don't have 10 years of experience, or everything is open and it's okay to have an opinion. And sometimes he will say, even to me, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I don't agree with it because I want it to look a different way.
Yeah.
I'll try to figure out how to. And sometimes he will say, oh, wow, that was exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. So he's kind of really, really sorting through the information presented, right?
Yeah. And
Never, never reading into it like anyone is attacking.
yeah, probably it's weird because at the surface, I'd say Onion Knight's someone who has that ability to divorce himself from his work, and get feedback. But actually, when I hear him write about it, you see the passion, you see how connected he
Yeah,
is with it. So I just think he's just a
definitely
boss at
is.
taking feedback. We need to get Onion Knight on and ask him how the hell do you take feedback as good as you, buddy? Because
it's an amazing ability to have.
I mean, just like one of my favorite painters in the hobby, I think, and
Is it me?
I'm not. Well, no, sadly. I mean, you're obviously up there. You're in the high pantheon, but probably with Onion Knight. And I didn't think I'd be in a situation. Well, number one, hosting a podcast with you, that's a little bit surreal. But then seeing Onion Knight like, hey guys, I'm thinking about X. Any thoughts? I'm like, you just won Golden Demon. Why are you asking us for thoughts? But I think he's just like, look, many hands. Let's get some ideas in, and then I'm going to paint it. And then, like, the thing, if there's a process in Onion Knight, it's like get idea, question mark, question mark, question mark, amazing miniature. And like when he's just like, I just toyed around for an afternoon, and he posts something that blows me away. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it kind of is.
So, but maybe that's a good bridge then. If the first 30 minutes was the bullshit corner, like then it's like the community stuff, because obviously we have a community, the GitGud community. I am, obviously a neutral party when I say that it's the best community in the world.
Very neutral. But
very neutral, yeah, absolutely. If anything, I'm too harsh on them, but the best community in the world. Which, if you're interested and you're not in, you can access via the Patreon. So we've built the community managing. That's a new discipline to learn. It turns out you can't just like turn it on and do it.
And it takes real effort too.
Yeah, no one told me that. Bloody hell. No. I just thought I'd be modding stuff, and like, no, it turns out you got to listen to people and take it on the chin sometimes. Jesus.
Yep.
But so we've been building that, and I guess the recent news in our community is we've launched Orkathon. So Magnus, give me the genesis of the Orkathon.
I don't even remember exactly how it started.
I'll tell you how it started. You painted bloody orcs and you gave the skin recipe, and that's how it started.
Yeah, but that kind of started elsewhere. I think it was actually Doug from the community who was like, yep, I'm ordering a box. And then he was like, we should paint orcs. And I was thinking,
paint orcs.
We really should be painting orcs. What's going on here? And you were working already on Snickrod.
I was indeed.
And I was working on the orcs for unit potentially.
No, definitely. No, I'm not giving you that out. Definitely submitting into Golden Demon. Absolutely. Keep going.
Yeah, for eventual Golden Demon then. So that we had skin recipes, and we were kind of posting those things already, and people. That's the amazing thing. Seeing something posted and thinking to yourself, God dang, I want to paint something like that. That is real inspiration, right? Having that kind of almost spoon-fed, and you're like, ooh, this is exactly what I love to see. It's kind of almost the best feeling in the world, that being just inspired and thinking, oh, I want to do that too. And I think it's where it started, and then just like rolling with it, and why not make a competition for the community? Have some friendly banter about it, and picking out models and hyping each other up. And I think it's the perfect way to go about it, because everybody can be excited for the same thing. And we kind of
the same theme, almost, like not the same model, obviously, but that was the like exciting, is that like loads of people just like you put it out there. It's green, it's orcs, it's oryx, it's green skins, it's whatever the hell you want. Like go ham, shows what you got, as long as it's on the theme. And I think everyone kind of understands the theme. But even within there, you begin to see the creativity where people are like, oh, I could do this goblin, or like, what about a killer can? Because it's not green, but who the hell cares? It's that kind of mash it together, see what happens with that energy, and seeing the ideas flourish. It's going to be dangerous when people start posting whips, though, because I'm going to stop buying models then, and that's what I'm scared about.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm super excited for it. I'm looking so much forward to seeing the VIPs and people, like, because we kind of did it half and half with the whole bone zone from earlier. It is from a different community and all that, but we kind of already had in the plans that we wanted to paint up Halgrim, that I then ended up painting for Patreon.
In a week.
And well, it was a week.
It was a week.
Yeah, but just seeing community kind of come together and celebrating around one thing, and the VIPs starting to trickle in, and people getting hyped because, oh wow, yeah, I should be trying to get some time in, and being excited to sit down and do your own version, right?
Yeah.
And that was exactly what I wanted the first time, and it's exactly what I want from this Orkathon thing. And which is why we want to do it as a regular thing, right?
Yeah, it's going to be every month. And
yeah.
I think the assumption is that you can, if you are so inclined, i.e. a crazy person, you can enter it every month and it'll be a different competition. So the plan is, if you're not in the community, we're going to have votes on what the next monthly challenge is. And the purpose is ultimately a challenge like this gets you out of your comfort zone in two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is there's a hard start and a hard end. You can prep the model because we're not monsters, but you can prep the model before May 1st. But then May 1st hits, that's when you can start painting, the start of the month, and then you have until midnight on May 31st to get it done. And then June 1st is my birthday, which I'm going to really like talking to people about the winners. But then obviously we'll get all the submissions in, and I think I need to work out how to collate submissions. That's a job I'm going to write that as a task after this podcast. But 31 days is not a huge amount of time to paint, certainly for a lot of people if they're working on like these big display standard pieces. So it's also understanding that you have a limited amount of time. You're going to have to make decisions on how you spend that time. And that's going to push you out of your comfort zone. And ultimately, you're going to learn from it.
I think so. And it's also kind of, yes, you can jump on it every month, but you can also pick the one that speaks to you. Like when you kind of cycle through, not everybody is excited about Necrons. Some people might not be.
Damn it, the Necron community is going to be coming hard for us now, Magnus. But keep going.
No, it's because my personal taste is.
No, it's fine. Necrons are boring. We can say it. This is our podcast. No one can stop us.
Yeah, it's true. No one can stop it. But what I'm saying is, okay, then you jump on the next one. When you find something where you see the topic and you think, all right, this is what speaks to me. I would really love to do this, or now I actually have the time because I'm off 10 days from work or whatever, and I actually want to sink some time into a project. That's why I think keeping it like a monthly thing is the way to go, because you kind of don't miss one.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
you can just jump on the train whenever.
Yeah, right? And you can also you're still going to get to see people's work as well, so it's going to do that inspiration thing. Like you're not going to miss out. And in fact, I might change my model, Magnus, because
really?
do you know what you're painting for it?
For Orkathon?
Yeah, is it another one of your record crew, or did you have a specific model?
No, I'm actually thinking of starting on. Well, I need to get it through customs, but that
easy thing.
Yeah, I had the Warbus coming.
It's such a nice model.
I was thinking about doing that one, but it's a Gold Demon project, so I won't be finishing anything. I'll just be following along and doing. And I don't want to win a competition that.
I think we have in the bylaws that you can't win. You're not allowed.
No, I can't. So, and
I think I should be allowed to win personally. That's just my opinion. But we do have a neutral.
We can set it for a vote.
That's true. Dave, we'll send it to Duckcart. We have a neutral judge in Onion Night for the Orkathon. So if you're like, oh, are these idiots going to be judging my work? No. We have Golden Demon Golden Demon Gold winner, Onion Knight, judging it.
Yes.
So sorry to jump back. I was going to paint the Pain Boy, but
Yeah.
do
You're
you have
already
this?
switching it up.
I do have this Goblin
Oh.
bust, and
Yeah.
the thing that's made me turned me around on this is got this big old bit, this big old like it's going to be the most glorious like NMM copper thing I could do.
Yeah.
And so
I've seen some amazing renditions of this one.
Oh, it's so good. I've forgotten the
Yeah,
name of it.
go
It's
online
the Goblin
and,
from P-Works, I think, isn't it? Yeah, Goblin from P-Works.
Get online and get inspired. There are so many nice ones. And I would also say something that actually for something like this, a competition like this, doing a bust where you can go with like broader strokes and a bit more painterly and stuff like that is actually fitting, and it is a very nice way to challenge yourself for something you wouldn't do otherwise necessarily.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at it as a challenge because although it's a bust, there's a lot of very fine detail. A lot of organics, and I like those organics.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's great. I've seen so many renditions that are gorgeous. So
it's also my first. You need to wash resin, don't you? Because I've not washed this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a job for later. So yeah, Orkathon is running May to June. Get involved. Give us your weird ideas. It's not like crunchy about the rules. It's not like we're not going to disqualify you.
No, just on theme with greenskins.
Yeah, like, and if you're not
you can
sure,
do a bomber
ask.
if you want to do a bomber.
Yeah. And realistically, we won't say no unless you say, "Is the Space Marine an orc?" In which case, we may have maybe some follow-up questions like, "Will it be painted in an orc style?" But let's hopefully that's not the case. And the vote is live for the next challenge, of which the options are Chaos, Necrons, Tyranids, and Tau. There we are. I mean, Tau was one of my suggestions, so I'm really, and they're not winning, so don't worry about it, people. But yeah, the vote is live, so if you want to get involved, get voting. Other news, Magnus, obviously the whole community's been up in arms because custodies can be women now. I don't think we have much to say on this other than if this is a problem for you, maybe take a look at your life and the decisions that have led you to this point.
Yeah, it's the big thing now because some people are raging and there's really no reason. I mean, if that kills your immersion, sorry.
You may go find something else to occupy your time.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah.
I am looking forward to seeing that model though, because like we've said this about the Sisters of Battle. Like I have some issues with the male gaziness of some of those figures, and so I'd like it to be rendered nicely. But whatever happens with Games Workshop. Speaking of James Workshop, we had the reveal of, you can see me looking at my notes here, Stormcast Eternal models, lots of those. One of which you already have your eyes on, judging by our Talks episode.
Yeah.
Anything,
and the phasing out of a lot of others.
Yeah, like 82.
I don't remember how. I just saw the graphic, and it was a lot that got phased out. Yeah, I don't even know why or
that. I mean, that's rough because I'm coming at it from not a wargaming perspective. Models not being available kind of bums me out, and makes it quite expensive to buy them if you really want to paint them.
Yeah. Luckily the consensus is that Stormcast look all the same, so
and you know what, it's not wrong. It's not a wrong consensus, Magnus. I don't know what to tell you. I think Space Marines have more personality than Stormcast.
I love some of them more than others, but
Bastion, no problems with Bastion. A brilliant model. That one that you showcased, I actually really like because it's more grimy. The rest of them, I couldn't tell them apart. But
it's really a preference thing.
In terms of like models that are objectively better than Stormcast, they revealed some Skaven, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
Basically, the Tyranids of Age of Sigmar. So
so many people love Skaven. Yeah.
They're rat dudes. What's not to like?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm just the out of print thing I'm bummed out about. In an ideal world where corporations and capitalism didn't exist, one of the things I'd like is for like Games Workshop to be like, okay, just so you know, these are all going out of print, and you can buy the STLs as a one-off purchase. So if you want to print them yourself, you can. Like, oh, that'd be wonderful. And I'm only
never gonna happen.
Never going to happen. Obviously, never going to
No.
happen. And I understand why it's not going to happen. But it bummed me out because like I had to get the worm spat Nurgle forces from eBay, and ended up paying a reasonable amount for them. A reasonable amount being £40, which is still a lot cheaper, a lot more expensive than they were when they were new. And that's just because they're out of print. And I like they're some of the best.
And the price is going to go up because with no print, then So I agree. But also, I mean, there's people who are collecting within the hobby.
Yeah.
And for those people to have
No, I'm not talking down bad people. You're allowed to collect. That's fine.
Yes, I actually think it is part of the hobby to collect. And for them, it's, I mean, they want to collect something and have it be kind of exclusive because it goes out of print or whatever. So it's, for them, it's okay. I mean, I'm not too bummed out about it. It is, of course, sad to see some things go, and especially the very nice models are in those products going out. Yeah, it's gonna be annoying not to, but I mean, you can pick another model. There are so many to choose from that are great looking. So
this is you're too nice, Magnus. I want to get annoyed about something, and here you are with like, oh,
yeah, I just can't really get right about it.
No, Magnus, I bought the bloody Halgrim. I had to buy him from an eBay seller because it's part of Warhammer Quest. And when Warhammer Quest goes out of print, that's going to be an expensive model.
Yeah, it is. I had to do the same, but I mean, if it was very unattainable, I could have just picked another model. It's not that big of a deal.
I mean, if we were smart men, Magnus, and I know this is a pretty big if,
I'm not.
We probably wouldn't have made the first Patreon tutorial series about a model that you have to basically buy off eBay if you've not already bought it.
No. The only reason why it was that one was because I already got it.
You're already there. It's your problem if you don't own it.
Yeah, for another thing, and that thing ended up not being so. And I really wanted to paint it, and I have really wanted to paint it for a long time. And while all the things I do on it, you can take from that one and put them like another model. All the weathering, all the way to build non-metallics, how to render fabrics, all of those things. And I think that's actually probably gonna be the theme in general on like the Patreon, showing how I'm building something, but that you can do in your way on your model. So
it's your model, do you want with it? You want to dunk it in null oil, you go crazy. That's fine.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the feedback session is going to be brutal, but you know, you can do it.
Just don't ask the questions that you don't want an answer to, right?
Absolutely, that is true. Is this good? Does this look like metal? Well, and actually, you know, you hit on something there, because one of the things I told myself, like because I look at tutorials like anyone does, I think, because it's good, like, you know, it's useful. But I intentionally, you know, I'm painting Septimus at the moment, which will bring us onto another section soon. But like you can find tutorials for Septimus. I won't watch them because I think there's sometimes a bit of a danger in like doing that one-to-one mapping. Like I want to learn how to paint Mortarion, so I'm going to watch the Mortarion tutorials, when actually like what you want to do is just watch a tutorial about a technique and then apply it to the model. Like, you know, what you want to know how to do Death Guard armor. Watch that and then apply that to a different model. So you're not just copying, you're actually learning. I think, certainly for my brain, that's how I like to learn.
Yeah, and I personally think the best way to go about it is definitely a mix. Because following a tutorial and be really into it and try to really look for the details and do exactly what is being done will kind of, I guess, prime you to carry that over onto the next one.
Yeah.
So I think the whole paint along, watching the tutorial, try and get the exact same effect, because now you kind of have something you can measure, right? Does it look the same? And why not? Because it never will. So that's a great like learning experience, but doing that exclusively is definitely not the way to push your own limit the furthest.
Yeah.
Then you take what you've tried and now you've seen how it can work, and you know, okay, the transition has to be shorter or longer, or I need to have less paint, whatever it is. And then you take that and put it on something where you maybe have a rough reference or something unfinished. I have personally used, for example, Richard Gray a lot because he never finishes anything.
Yeah, it's a great role model to have in the hobby, I think.
Yeah, it is. But also, you kind of get some of it, and then it's like paint the rest of the owl.
Yeah.
So now you have to fill in the rest
and
figure.
Go for it.
Yeah, you kind of have the start exactly, and that's why I think also having feedback regularly is kind of important, because you're trying and trying and trying, and then you get the feedback. Am I on track? Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. And if you're unsure of next step or whatever, you can ask the questions and get kind of like, okay, now I'm on the track again. Go. So yeah,
it's
I think
taking
it
the
is
training
definitely
wheels off, isn't it? Like that's like, you know, that if you get that tutorial, you've got those training wheels on the bike, off you go.
Yeah.
And then you just whip them off. And in the real world, you'll know if you've messed up because you fall over and hurt yourself. In miniature painting, you need someone to actually say, you're going in the wrong direction, unfortunately, but let me get you back on the way you need to be.
Yeah,
And that can be a big learning point.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of like the training wheels thing. In the real world, when you take the training wheels off, you don't put them on again.
No.
I don't think that's true for painting. You can put them on. You can take them off, try and fly, and then if it flies, it flies. If you don't, put them back on. And sometimes I want to paint something, have it look good, have it be like my style or my look, but I will paint something that is painted already by someone else that looks good, and I will take inspiration from 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 different like paint jobs, and I can like spend more energy on making it my own than on figuring out from like scratch from black or whatever. So I think and I mean, going back and forth between doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that is actually pretty helpful, because you are training different things. Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I'm thinking about that. I'm going to follow some Rich Gray tutorials. I mean, but both you and I will speak very highly of Rich Gray, one of the best painters out there, in my opinion.
Yes.
And like,
probably
one of the few people who I think can make magic with a brush. I think you see a lot of people that are very like technically skilled. Rich, just the stuff he does, he'll make creative leaps in the middle of painting that is just like, whoa, what the hell has happened here? But my God, look at it happen. And yeah, like stuff like his Mortarian and the Sakar recently are just examples of that.
Yeah, and I want to say we are starting up Patreon now because we want to help people and reach out into a community and all those things. But I have no issues with saying there are tons of nice creators out there, lots of good work. Get inspired.
Yeah, I do. So make sure it's GitGud first, and then you can go find like other painters. You know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, but I'm saying it. I seek inspiration too. It's not like, okay, now you've reached this level, you don't need anybody and you don't want anybody. You can always render perfectly, and not like that at all. It is very fluid, and sometimes I don't want to say dry patch, but sometimes you get into a hole and you think, I'm not hitting it. I don't know why. And you try a different approach or get a bit of feedback or get inspired by something else or whatever it is. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, I think the
I
key thing
firmly
is just
believe that.
don't beat yourself up. Like
No,
if beating yourself up is a little bit of your process, I get it. Like, please trust me, I do.
it's normal.
But don't wallow in it. You got to, there's a load
No.
of people that will be there to offer you some next steps to follow, which can help.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a good bridge to talk about what we're painting. What we're painting. I was going to say this week. It's probably not going to change week by week. You know, I'm a reasonably slow painter, and I know how long Dan took you. So you know. So Magnus, what are you painting? What's got you excited?
I am. I have so much actually, but so I want to finish Bastion, but it's very hard for me because I really want to get into that Astrolith standard bearer. I really want to. I've already like tried and tested for colors, and I'm just seeing the model and getting inspired and feeling
shiny
like
objects, Magnus. It's a new shiny
this is what, yeah. And then it is so hard to pull yourself away from it. So I'm trying my best to get Bastion done, I think, kind of in the background, because I have painted most, if not all, of the exciting things on it. So now it's doing trim on inside of whatever, and all the little pieces that are not exciting and also not really fit for like production, because you gotta get so close and so precise, and yeah, it's not really, and it's not showing much of. It is showing some technique, of course, but it's not really showing that much of it because it's refining, refining, refining. So you're basically seeing like the top 10% of an iceberg, which is not the most exciting. So I'll be painting that in the background, I think, going forward, and then I'll be starting that Ashley standard bearer and trying to record as much as possible. And yeah, I'm excited for that. It really is.
Yeah,
Great
I'm very excited for you to tackle that. I do think it's probably going to be a nightmare to film and paint, but I'm going to let you worry about that.
Yeah, some of it will be, and I actually had a hangout in the Discord yesterday evening. I like those regular hangouts because it's just something where people jump in and out and have a bit of fun and talk about what is going on and what are they working on and how are they feeling and why are they stressed or not stressed, and it's my kid's birthday tomorrow, and all the things just together. And
a nice
of course
morass of humanity just all chatting.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, and people getting to know each other, and it came up, this one, like painting stuff like that, and I also actually kind of discussed it a bit with Miriam, who's good with earlier hangouts, and I'll probably be showing kind of like, I guess, snapshots on Halgrim. I showed not the entire process, but quite a lot of it. Like, I had to skip some of the cloak because of me pushing it together. But I showed a lot of the armor and a lot of weapon and all of that. And here I'll probably show how to like render skin and scales and something like that.
Yeah.
And then I need to paint it afterwards because it is a bit awkward to paint. But you will see how to make nice and shiny golds and how to paint the jade and how to paint the scales and all of those, like the massive things. And then I'll probably talk about how to like get to the next step and how, when you're going to fill in the rest of the owl, how to do it.
Got to do the rest of the owl, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I should say, Miriam is Miriam Klein. I think it's pronounced Klein on Instagram, and she is an incredible painter. Probably one of the most humble painters I know, who just seems to be churning out this mind blowing work. It's like, oh, it's not that good. I personally
Well,
felt
to
that,
us it is.
yeah, it's fine. You high level bastards, it's fine. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah.
Completely lost my place. We're talking
Yeah,
about
what are
what we're
you working on?
painting. I'm working.
Yeah, yeah.
So MPO is next month.
Yeah,
Miniature
I'm not
painting
joining
open.
because it's
It's in
far from
Bristol.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to be making the big Patreon bucks before we can fly you places. So
Also,
stop
I have
telling.
a baby, so
Well, you can bring the baby. That's fine. I mean,
yeah.
my child was 18 months when I took her on a plane. So yeah, you can give her a little bit longer, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have 3 models for MPO. Technically 4 models. So I have the Free Guild Marshal and Relic Envoy, who I need. So this is the quandary I find myself in. So I need to refine them, but I have, in my opinion, grown as a painter since I first painted those. And I think I'm going to find the refining step quite difficult as a result, because there'll be some bits I want to completely repaint and I don't have that time. So I kind of maybe I'll improve bits, like the most egregious bits, but I'll let Sleeping Dogs lie on that refinement. And I'm enjoying that. Snickrot, which is, as you mentioned, was not ever intention to be an entered piece into anything, but I just started painting him because I needed a break. Then it became something I really got into and worked on and wanted to enter him. And so I need to get to he's done, but I need to refine him, and I'm more interested in refining him. And then there's Sepsimus, who I've now painted both shoulder guards and the head.
But that's a personal project for you, right?
That is a personal project, but it may end up that I want to enter him into something. I don't know. This is the thing. But that's the piece which is just, that brings me joy. And like, even as we say, it's been a week, because it has been a week, I sit down and paint that, and I'm just in my happy place because I'm just painting for me. And I just love that fucking model. It's so good. It's the best model. Like, I love Nurgle. Like, you should know this about me, listener. Nurgle is great. I will hear no bad things said about Nurgle. And that model is so good. And this is why it annoys me. It's out of print. Damn it, print more, James Workshop.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's
it looks, the sculpt itself, and it lends itself perfectly to trying all kinds of rendering, and you can do it in so many ways. And I agree. I feel kind of fortunate because, I mean, I picked Helgrim myself, right? So it's not like
it was my idea.
But I could have picked something that I could paint, but it turned out that I actually not only could paint it and wanted to paint it, but really enjoyed painting it. So while of course everything is a bit harder recording it, and I of course had to go back and fix a bit here and there and whatever, but I feel fortunate that it was a project that I actually really liked, that I both wanted to do for myself and could put on Patreon. So it is actually kind of a special project for me, because I chose it and I wanted to paint it. I even got it for something else before, and then things changed a bit and we decided to...
Life changes sometimes. You just got to roll with that.
Do this instead. And because it was the next thing that I knew I wanted to do, it was the one I picked, and I actually really enjoyed painting it. So yeah, really fortunate about having both the I guess personal project line up with something you can film, which is not always the case. I think it is important to have something. I mean, some people, I'm not much of, I want to share everything. I like doing something, put some work in, share it with people. I love it. I do it all the time. I don't care if it's for me or it's for Patreon or it's for Golden Demon or whatever. I'm sharing everything that I think is worth sharing, right? Yeah. But I understand that some people don't want to do that. They want something that is only for them to enjoy within their hobby space, and yeah, respect to them, and to like really just enjoying painting for painting. And staying in their own headspace when they do it, and not necessarily having all kinds of feedback. And well, you can take something like that and go to, I guess, a trusted friend.
Very trusted friend. The most trusted friend you have.
Yeah, or someone that won't break your heart, and then ask for a bit of feedback, or is this working out, or I think the screen is off, or whatever it is. You can of course do that, but some projects that you don't just share with the broader community, I think that is perfectly fine.
Or you share like when you're ready. Like this is what I find interesting about a lot of
Yeah.
the pros. Like I'll show you what I'm bringing to, classic example is Liam/Phoenix's entry to MPO. I know he's only shared it with a few people. And seeing the little preview on Instagram got me really excited. And I respect this, like, look, I'm working on this. Some people are going to see it. Most of you aren't until the show. And isn't that kind of going to be exciting? And I think that probably comes with a confidence of like, when I reveal it, it's going to be worth it, kind of thing, which is always good.
Yeah, and actually also the want for that, for something that you spend a lot of time on, and you want to be really good looking and want to do well in a competition, and you want to kind of like pull the curtain, and here it is. Isn't it glorious? So, and that's a bit hard if you've shared 2,000 VIPs like I did on Dante or whatever.
My only problem with your Dante whips is I don't know what's the final one now, because you don't have like a backdrop that you take final pictures with, do you?
No, I don't, and it's very on purpose actually, because I sometimes take a daylight picture from. I have a cabinet in my living room, and I sometimes take a daylight picture there because it looks different, and often I take like a painting desk. Because you can kind of then see that the photos aren't doctored. You can see with the other colors, and you can see with the paint dropper in the background and stuff that the colors aren't weird. And so it is very on purpose. And also, not every paint job and not every model, but I think a lot of models actually look their worst under that harsh, bright light that you're painting under, and then bringing it out, and everything softens a bit because you're seeing it in normal lighting with not 10,000 times zoom. And
so this is your official confirmation that you do not Photoshop your
Magnus. Oh no! Are we in a timeline where we have to say that?
I think so.
I think so I can pledge.
I'm going to need to, unfortunately. I mean, and this is not a diminishment of you, Magnus. I just know your technical abilities, and Photoshop is not one of them. So I'm going to vouch for you. You are very, very good at like using your iPhone to paint stuff on models, but that is a talent you've developed. But unfortunately, editing photos not quite your bag.
Nope.
Can't trust a damn thing.
My computer. I have a computer in the background, and it is great for playing Roblox with my 8-year-old. But that's about it.
That's all computers are for. That's all you need. Get that Roblox on. God, that's a shared pain.
I mean, I can enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, was it Brookhaven? I'm always role playing in Brookhaven. I'm a police officer. I'm a zombie. It keeps me young at heart. I think that's the main thing. You can't take yourself too damn seriously in this world. I don't think.
No.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm not an alpha male. Maybe that's it. Maybe someone will be putting that in the comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that's what we're painting. What are we learning? And I did initially call this F up corner. I think I've had my one F word for the podcast. I'm not going to use it again. But, and maybe I'll start with this, because I had a very public one, which I think is a good one. And I'm very curious to know what you'll be learning. So for those of you not in our community, I had a dreadnought that I was going to paint. And the reason I wanted to paint the dreadnought, well, initially I bought the dreadnought because I was watching a Richard Gray tutorial on an Imperial Fists dreadnought. And he made it look like a great model. And he's not wrong. It's a beautiful model. And I was like, I'm going to buy that and paint it. And then I bought it and didn't do a damn thing with it. And then MPO was coming up, and I was like, I kind of want to enter a vehicle. it'd be nice to enter the Dreadnought, and I assembled the Dreadnought, and then had a first go at preparing the model, failed preparing the model, had to re-prepare it, then primed it, then noticed a few issues I'd had preparing it, so stripped it, fixed those, re-primed it, then had a go at painting it. Wasn't a good paint job, stripped it, and then neatened it up, and I'd re-primed it, and I was like, okay, I can do this, and you know,
back into it.
I was dreading it. I was just dreading the idea of sitting down to paint that damn thing. And so, you know, this psychodrama was obviously playing out in the community. And eventually I was like, so what should I do? And everyone was like, drop it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just quit the model. It's not bringing you anything. And it took me a while to come around to realize that was the best advice to take. And like that's the key learning I'm taking forward, is when a model's not bringing you joy, just set it down. Set it.
Yeah.
There's no.
I completely agree. Yeah, and it's actually one of the things that, well, of course it's our community, so we think it's great, but I genuinely think it is great. It is not huge yet or anything, but we have good people there, and having people kind of be involved in each other's stuff means that people could actually give you good advice. They could actually say to you and mean it, Bruce, maybe this is not the model for you. You struggled the first time and you're gonna struggle the next time, because
you seem to keep struggling.
You just, it doesn't fit where you are right now, and it doesn't fit, like, you're kind of forcing it because you got it and you want to enter something, and you have an idea of something you've seen look great, right? So now you want to try and make something that looks great. But if you're struggling the whole way, nope, you're not going to enjoy it. You, like, the odds of you just getting sour with
painting in general.
Yeah, or having to step away because I can't get anything to work. I think
it shows the flip side as well, because this week painting Septimus has been a retreat for me, and it's been like, and in the alternative is trying to get that stupid Dreadnought to look good. And knowing that I would have just got more, it wouldn't have been a retreat from work, it would have been more work, and that's not a good place to be in.
No, even if you ended up with it looking great, you would kind of only have that, right? You would have an end product that looks very good, but then you take it to competition and it doesn't do as well as you hoped or whatever, and you've struggled the whole way.
Yeah.
So you're just hating this beautiful piece that you made that's not even gonna get you what you dreamed of, I guess. So the kind of sweet spot is to enjoy the journey, be excited about entering it, hopefully get the recognition you want. But if you lack the last part, it won't sting as much, because you actually like the model you have, and you actually like the journey there, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was such a wise choice to put it down, maybe
to listen to what people kept telling me to do. The third time, that was the charm. I just needed it happening a few times, and then I eventually. So what have you learned this week, Magnus?
Oh boy, in regards to painting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've learned some parenting lessons, some things in the gym, but probably more on the painting side.
Yeah, in regards to painting, I've learned to kind of what is important for me to do to actually show what I'm doing, because it's not that easy set up and everything, and I've kind of learned that it's okay to cut it short and say, this is what I can do, and the rest I'm gonna fix, and I'm showing what it looks like, and then moving on from there. So for me, it has been kind of adjusting to all of this, and also just being mindful of how much movement, and I mean, it's a different world. It definitely is. And for me, it really opened my eyes to like the content creators out there they are doing a great job, because
It's tough.
I kind of,
It's real tough.
yeah, I kind of took it a bit for granted before, I guess. And while I did enjoy, and I've never not enjoyed looking at content, and I can, if something doesn't speak to me, I have no reason to shit on it or anything. I'll move on because it maybe doesn't speak to me. But I have always like had the respect for it, but it is definitely on another level now, because I really know what it is. And yeah, and I've tried a bit. I mean, I've I've really tried to make recipes that were different from regular recipes, if only for the sake of it actually being different. Because of course a recipe following that on a Patreon is something you can do, but I'm stressing that if you have something that is similar, use it.
Yeah.
Because I'm mixing through 5 or 6 different brands or whatever, and you definitely don't have to go out and buy exactly the color I'm using, but you want to look at what it looks like. Is this a reddish brown? Then you go to your drawer and you find a reddish brown. Or if this is a bluish tone of turquoise, then you go into your gym bag of assorted paints like I do.
Your assorted turquoises.
And just pull out one that looks similar. And you will get a result that, because for me, it is actually important to show that even if you follow exactly my recipe, yours won't look the same.
Yeah. The Dante
It
video
won't either way.
that.
It won't. Yeah. And that's why we kind of did the Dante video, and it won't, which is fine. Nothing wrong with it. And it's not a bad thing that you had an endpoint that is different. But to that point, you might as well use something that you have already. Of course, if you have no reds at all, and I'm painting with a red.
Yeah, what are you doing with your life? That's a good question.
I mean, yeah, you kind of need a red then, I guess. But it's not. Don't get too hung up about the exact recipe.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. So I've tried to learn and tried to be mindful of those things, because I probably haven't put too much thought into it before. And now I'm kind of forcing myself to think about what I'm doing and why.
Yeah.
Which is also why, I mean, we did some videos for YouTube in the beginning to kind of dial in and get used to setup, and even just speaking over dude, I hated it. Speaking over something you're sitting alone. There's no one on the other side. It's not a conversation. It's just you speaking into the void.
It's a skill.
Oh my God. It is so hard. It really is. And trying to get better at those things it's a learning curve. And yeah, those are the things that I've really learned. And
your latest though, the final Halgrim video is, it was really interesting to me from a production standpoint, because you got it nailed, like in terms of the timings of the voiceover, in terms of everything. I was like, oh, this boy's been practicing. This boy's got good at this. This is exciting. And now that you've dialed into that, that's really interesting to see.
Yeah. And I'm definitely learning with every video, and being more mindful, and trying to get, because you can speak some general terms on painting and also on the model you're doing, and sometimes you want to like pinpoint, and this is exactly where I'm doing it. You can see how I'm doing A and B, and then you get a result from that. So yeah, trying to it is a learning curve, but
it is.
Yeah, 100%. It's exciting for me though. It's not like because it's something so new. I think that's exactly why it is exciting, even though it is hard work. It's learning a new skill and trying to get into it. Yeah,
it's fun. Right, I'm afraid. So this is where in future podcasts, we'll have our mailbag from our lovely community, I think, if we get some like public questions. And I kind of realized midway through recording, I didn't put any calls out for questions. That's fine. That's on me. I'll take that on the chin and learn from it for next time. That's another learning this week. But for now, we'll do our sign-offs. I think 80 minutes is a good pilot. 5-star podcast, 5-star run times. Magnus, I have a few things to outro with. So before I shut us up, is there any outros, goodbyes that you want to say?
Yes, I want to say thank you for everybody supporting. We haven't quite launched yet, and we already built a community of good people that are engaging and like who are warm and welcome, and who are just lovely to be around in general. And so the support is massive for us. Yes, a big thanks for that is definitely
it's very touching.
Well,
yeah. Hey, I mean, I agree. I think very lucky to have found the right people in the hobby early, and that is something I'm probably eternally grateful for, because I think people will be. You can probably get into some weird cul-de-sacs out there. So if you're listening to this, GitGud community is the one that you want. And on that note, this draws to a close, episode 1. If you want to support us, follow us, get involved, like I said, it's GitGud Painting on YouTube. A subscription really helps us out. If you can't afford a Patreon or anything like that right now, don't worry about it. Just stay involved with us. If you do want to check out the Patreon, it's GG Painting on Patreon, and you can access a multitude of tiers depending on if you just want content or you just want feedback from Magnus. But yeah, that's it for episode 1. We'll probably get another episode out next month with a few more adjustments as we kind of dial in on our content settings. But for now, goodbye, have a great day, and get painting.